Hello, everybody. Welcome back. SC Playbook, the EPL edition, getting ready for game week 13. A nice early record for us this week to digest and sort of talk over everything that's happened over the weekend. My name's Alex Molchanoff. I've got Matt Jurman with me. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, good man. Good man. How are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Fresh off a week of Australian Championship. It was great to have the Premier League back. Upsets galore. Yep. And plenty for us to talk about. Liverpool, Spurs, and Manchester City going down as well. Can we start? Let's start there before we get to the teams. Your Reds. What is Scooby doing? I had Gravenberch playing as centre-back, Szoboszlai playing at right-back, and looked completely at sea against this Nottingham Forest team that had been dreadful for most of the start of the year, but turned up.
Yeah, Liverpool at home as well. Playing at Anfield, you'd expect a turn of results, but it just doesn't look like it's happening at the moment. Obviously got the players there to change it, but it's just a terrible result, and it's just, I don't know, just not very positive at all.
Does it strike you as though Arne Slot is searching for something? Like he's flipping the magnets. I know Canado's not been great, but to take Gravenberch out of the midfield where he's been so good, and the Szoboszlai experiment at right back, because bringing in Frimpong and Bradley, who just have not performed anywhere close to the level, it smacks of desperation to me.
I mean, Szoboszlai has been our best player.
Yeah, and even playing there.
Even playing at right back, he's sort of fixed it at the moment for us, but at the same time, he's good for us in the front third as well, so you don't want to have him too far back, but he's a man that can get all over the pitch, So, I think there's a few injuries. Obviously, the guys that have come in haven't hit the ground running, and it's not good signs for the Reds at the moment. So hopefully they can turn around.
Another team that plenty of Aussies hate watching slightly at the moment. Terrific performance from Arsenal on the weekend. We should say, we've been telling you about Eberechi Eze. Wasn't he superb? Hat-trick. But Spurs just so negative, Matt. And, we're coming in here saying the same thing every week. But Thomas Frank is now saying, I've only got the stuff to work with. I can't believe the ride he's been given in the media versus what Ange faced in the second year of his tenure. Where, I was listening to a podcast today, some prominent English journalist going, he's got a lot of players out. Where was this a year ago? He could have afforded Ange.
Poor Ange,
that's right.
The questions were coming thick and fast for him when he was getting these losses after games, and it doesn't seem like he's getting the same treatment, which is it's weird to see, you think that Ange had a bit of a target on his back, and you can see that now, the way Tottenham are playing and the way Spurs were playing last year. I think a lot of the Spurs fans would rather have Ange and go for it, at least have some good football to watch, maybe lose some games here and there, but I think now they're actually pretty bored with watching the team play and lose as well. So.
And that's actually putting more pressure on that. You know this better than me. When your team are not attacking, not looking to be proactive, whatsoever with the ball. Talked a lot from a Supercoach perspective about how low we are on Mickey van der Ven at the moment. He's just having to absorb so much pressure. He and Christian Romero are good centre halves, but playing in a back three, strange system. But they're having to shoulder so much weight at the moment. Yeah,
and I think eventually you're going to cop a goal. It doesn't matter how well you're playing, but the more...
especially against a quality team like Arsenal.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Arsenal, obviously, top team, they're coming first. And, the further back you go, the more chances are going to come. And then there's always going to be a goal or someone not in the right area, or there's too many players.
Stroke of luck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's all it takes. So, I think Spurs are very hard to judge at the moment. Sometimes you get a great... big win, and then you see them, get smashed on the weekend against Arsenal in a big game. That's a London derby. That's something that they don't want to lose. So
it's going to be very interesting to watch. Manchester United, we'll get onto them shortly as well after the performance against Everton. What a bizarre game of football that was. At SC Playbook on EPL on X, Instagram, Facebook is where to find us. You'll find the clips from the show. You'll find articles from Harry West, Steve Nikolovsky, myself, and you can access them through the scplaybook.com.au website. Our SC Playbook League is still open. We have reposted the code to get in there. So there's a $1,000 first prize up for grabs if you are an SC Playbook subscriber, $500 to the winner if you're not. And to put yourself in the draw for that $1,000, you can join the SC Playbook community. It costs just $2 a week, gets you access to all those articles I've talked about, and there's NFL, cricket, NBA going on at the moment as well. The Big Bash is about to start up. Timmy and the team were recording the first podcast of the summer when we were in here a week ago. So you can get excited for all that sporting action over the course of the year as you get ready for NRL to ramp back up. That podcast will start, as a lot of the teams do, around December, January. Looking forward to all the action we're expecting in 2026 there. Our team's performances this week, 67 points for you, Matty. It was a low-scoring week given that Haaland had such a difficult one. Just dropped outside the top 3K, mate. It's been a good run to start, but captaining Jean-Philippe Mateta, and it's safe to say that Joao Gomez will be featuring in the segment where we talk about who we're trading this week as well.
Correct, yeah. 67, probably one of my lowest scores so far, but I mean, I think a lot of teams sort of had that low scores this week, considering, the front third really sort of, underscored in most of the games, unless you pick someone like an Eze or someone like that, that scored you high points. But that's all right. We back to the drawing board and we go again.
That's it. That's the fun of it. 38 weeks to get through. I did all right, 86 points, even without Haaland firing. Captain Declan Rice, which was very helpful amongst that, 13 points for him and a very good Arsenal performance. And up into the top 9K now, so slow incline as I look to catch Matty Jurman next to me. Bruno Guimaraes, I tell you what, it's been my midfield transfers, Matty. Bruno Guimaraes, Declan Rice, Szoboszlai starting at right back and still scoring an 11 despite not scoring or assisting, which is fantastic. And Nico Gonzalez might be looking at a trade out considering he's kept on hitting his break-evens over the course. We'll talk about the strikers shortly. I just want to start with Eberechi Eze. He's in a really interesting spot now, 11.2 mil. We've been tipping you into him. He's just out of reach for most, unless you were looking to do the move on from Gabriel, which quite a few people have, included yourself. And he's probably the most attractive midfielder in Supercoach for me at the moment. He's going to retain his spot for a long time. We've got this run of games going. The first midweek round is coming up next week. So I'm not sure what we're doing with our record schedule, but we'll have to juggle all of that around. Make sure you stay alert with all of that, finalising trades and captaincies and all that sort of stuff. But back to Eze, superb performance, shows what you can do through the middle of the field, and hopefully, from a Supercoach perspective, if you're an owner or someone who's going to trade him in, that's where he stays now for Mikel Arteta. They're playing a different brand of football as well, expansive, using their wingers. I think Saka coming back and has been a massive influence in that, but they're looking really, really impressive, 6 points clear at the top of the league as we sit here on Tuesday.
Yeah, I think Arsenal, they're in a good spot at the moment. The team looks good. They've got a great bench for players to come on and make a difference as well. And yeah, like I said, a player like Saka in form, no injuries at the moment, and he looks very good at the moment. Someone that's flying, and yeah, I'm sure he's not far away from getting on the score sheet again.
We might be tipping into what you're looking to do over the course of the week. The second value, well, he's a value option. He's sitting at 8.1. We've been high on Phil Foden. How he didn't have at least one goal in this game, if not another. There were a couple of butchered chances that City put together in their loss over the weekend to Newcastle. I thought they were very unfortunate in different moments. You could see the frustration of Pep Guardiola. They'll feel that's an opportunity missed. But his form has continued to just tick along nicely in terms of what we're seeing, on the eye test. The scores going from a really solid base against Bournemouth and Villa and Everton. He had a run of 9s and a 10 against Bournemouth, and then it's just dropped slightly off the Liverpool game, a 7 and a 4. Where are your sort of thoughts on him at the moment? Because for me, he's still someone, if you can't get to that Eze price range, who is very much worth looking at.
Yeah, well, when I traded Foden in, he was the other one. It was either Eze or Foden. So obviously missed out on some big points on the weekend, but I think Foden's due a big score in the next few weeks, potentially even this weekend against Leeds. So at home, I think he's going to be hopefully starting, but I think he's going to be all amongst the goals and assists this weekend. Hopefully a few with Haaland, my captain, maybe. We'll see. But yeah, he's looking good. I wouldn't be too worried if you're an owner.
Yeah. if you're an owner, I couldn't agree more. The caveat I'll put in terms of trading in, if you can hold off 2 more weeks, just looking at the price projections here, is set to go down even with a 7 or 8 by about 400k before we meet again against Fulham. And then if that continues and he doesn't score or assist again, he'll be down almost $1 million to sort of just over that 7 mil mark. So that could be a bit of reallocation of funds across a couple of players if you're holding on to a Gabriel and didn't manage to trade him out over the weekend. There's a few other high scorers that will be in that position over the course of the next few weeks as well. Just quickly, before we get away from this and get onto the attackers, have you ever seen what we saw from Idrissa Gueye and Michael Keane this morning? Red card for Everton. Manchester United still managed to go on and lose the game. Great goal from Keenan Dewsbury Hall, who looks like he's finding a bit of confidence about himself again after a bit of a slump over the last couple of weeks. I'd never seen... Well, I had, but it was 20 years ago, right?
Yeah, it's been a while since you've seen that in their own team fighting on the pitch about something, but... I mean, I'd love to know what was said, to be honest, for that reaction to come up like that. But yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of frustrations from the other players as well, because to play with 10 men for that long, it's there's going to be some tired bodies in the next few days. But I think David Moyes would be pretty happy with the win back at his old club as well, and with 10 men for much of the game, I think he'll be happy with the result. But if it went the other way, he would have been fuming. Well,
it was funny. So he came out at post-game and he said, in his typical Moyes manner, he goes, well, I thought the referee could have had a bit more of a think about it. He pulled the red card straight out and then he goes, I actually don't mind my players fighting. Like, it shows a bit of grit, a bit of determination, a bit of character. Have you ever had a situation like that during your career as a player that you can think of? I'm sure there's been plenty on the training ground.
Yeah. I mean, definitely in the training ground. In the games, probably not like that. But yeah, I mean, there's been arguments, obviously, but usually, we wait until we get inside.
That's right.
Hopefully, no one sees it on the pitch. But I remember there was I can't remember if I played that game or not, but I remember Ali Abbas and Alessandro Del Piero.
That's right.
Having a bit of an argument during the game. Can't remember what it was about. I think it had something to do with making a sub. I think Ali was talking to the coaches about taking someone off or something like that, and it might have even been Ali. I don't know. I can't remember. But yeah, that was probably the most interesting thing that's happened, in terms of my games.
And they went on to be quite close mates as well, from memory. They were spotted hanging out and quite getting on with each other. It just shows you.
Most of the time, it's just
it's that gone. Moment,
it's
right?
Gone, After the game's done, you make up in the change room and you move on. Hopefully, after a win.
Yes, very much so, which Everton got. And that's the most remarkable bit of that story to sort of get us back on track. So that brings into focus some of those United players. I've been very strong that I think this system that Ruben Amorim is so wedded to is probably not the right one. And particularly in games like this, right, where Everton could just get set in their shape. And because you're playing those 3 sort of central attackers. I know when Mbeumo's encouraged to get on the wing, but he's a striker. He wants to go and score goals.
Yeah, of course.
And Kobe Mainu was doing the majority of sort of driving and progressing the ball during the game. He's a wing back. Like, as much as you want to see those players getting forward, it shouldn't be resting on them to create chances. And the result is that we get a performance from Bruno Fernandes where he's largely ineffective. He's dropping in price again. And I know the base stats that people are talking about, he scored a 7, right? But if I'm spending 10.5 mil on a guy that I think can be a real premium and make that jump for me, I just think there are still better options out there unless United come away from this system or push him into one of those 2-10 roles where I think he is more effective and where Amorim actually played him last season, which is the most remarkable part of this for all of it, for me, out of all of it. It's going to be very interesting to watch. So his price drop is slight this week. Bruno Fernandes, he's set to go. I mean, their fixture is very attractive, and we're about to talk on a similar circumstance with Mohamed Salah at Liverpool. But Palace next week, which is going to be difficult for them. Then they have West Ham visiting Old Trafford, Wolves, Bournemouth over this busy little run of fixtures. So I don't know. What's your advice, Matty? Are you waiting? I'm asking you because I don't have a firm answer myself at the moment on particularly Fernandes and Mbeumo.
I think for Fernandes, obviously, when you're playing against 10 men and you're trying to break a team down that's already up 1-0 away from home, it's going to be quite difficult, especially if you, like you said, you don't have the system to be able to try and break teams down like that. But I think there was a few shots from outside the box. Fernandes probably got close a couple of times. He's got that ability to score from out wide. from out deep.
Yep.
And you see the fixtures that they have coming up. They're winnable games. Definitely winnable. But at the same time, it's Man United, so you can't trust them 100% as well. Obviously the next game against Crystal Palace could be
it's a
loss.
boom or bust,
yeah,
right?
It could be a loss. For that one, but the games after that, you see him having a big chance to win those games, and you expect Fernandes to be in the thick of it. So yeah, for me, I probably wouldn't be looking at him buying. I think there's more better options, but I think at the same time, he's the one that can create and make those chances come out of nowhere. So if you're a Man United fan, maybe jump on.
Keep the faith.
But yeah, if you're not, I think just maybe watch and see what happens this week.
United Strand, shout out. The wait goes on. The wait goes on for that haircut. And Mbeumo's the one that I am interested in, and this is because of where I'm sitting as a Mohamed Salah owner. I've got about 3 weeks before he leaves for AFCON, right? We've got 4 games in that period. I'm looking at the Man United fixtures here. I'll get Salah up quickly. But West Ham this week, where are we going here? Come on, pull up for me.
Sunderland, Leeds.
There we go. West Ham, Sunderland, Leeds, Brighton. Before he departs. Set to drop a fair bit of cash unless he really explodes in one of those games. Do I wait? How long can I wait? Because Mbeumo is the one that is the obvious trade-in for me, right? Yeah. I think, for all the criticism of United, around that same price, in a team where he shoulders so much attacking responsibility, there's a similar profile of player there. But if Salah does not perform, I'm going to be costing myself a lot of money in the very short term, and perhaps not be able to get to that premium buy that I'm looking for, where I'm going to have to bail myself out with almost a goalkeeper spot in Dean Henderson, who came in and performed for me very well this week with a clean sheet for Palace. I'm stuck. At the moment, I'm leaning towards leaving him in for West Ham this week. Sunderland are losing a lot of players to AFCON, probably more than we mentioned. We had a conversation with Ryan Selvage last week about when do we start regarding them as sort of a tougher task. My answer would be probably for the next 4 weeks until they lose those players. I think it's going to be much more difficult for them after that. But West Ham, Sunderland, Leeds, that's a run of 3 games where he's got to at least find the score sheet in one of them, right? And then
you'd hope so. But
judging thing, I am aware. I'm just sort of monologuing to you about my own issues at the moment.
Yeah, his price. If he keeps going like this, his price could be around the 5 mil mark by the time he leaves, and that's not something that you want to do. But yeah, if you're holding him, it's a risky play, but one that could come off quite easily at the same time.
Whereas if I trade now, and Mbeumo's sitting around 11.5, or he's going to drop. So at least for this week, I'm holding. West Ham for him after the Palace game, assuming the price has dropped. And then you're looking at Wolves, Bournemouth, Villa. You want to have him in before that. So maybe you've talked me into the answer. 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
At least West Ham, you've got to give him.
Yeah.
Reassess after that, I think.
It is. It is just twirling plates at the moment as we try and scoop through this. Right, the last position we want to touch on is the defenders. You've nailed this all the way through the season, Matty. Your good form has basically been on the back of how well you've chosen these. Harry West has written for SC Playbook this week about the players he thinks you must have in, some of the holds and some of the must-considers over the course of the next few weeks. So top of this list, I'll take you through one by one. You've kept an SE in. We predicated this last week. We thought Bournemouth's form was going to improve.
Yep.
That has proven correct. Harry's saying waits because his price could jet up again around that 10 mil, but he is not going to do that for at least the next week or two because of the battering they took against Villa that has affected his break-even somewhat. 7.5, Harry's saying, is about the time that he wants to jump on, which is over the next couple of weeks, where Palace's run is Man United at home, Burnley away, Fulham away before a visit from Manchester City. But by then, I'm looking at the Palace fixtures. Let me give that another crack. Sunderland away, Everton at home, Chelsea at home, Man United away. I'd back them to keep a couple of clean sheets in that run, in all honesty.
Yeah, and then they've got Burnley and Brentford after that as well. So definitely a hold for me. I think got an assist on the weekend as well with top pass. I don't know if you've seen it, but it was nice to see. And I think Bournemouth were definitely unlucky not to score a few more in that game. Going down 2-0 as well. I think it was good character to come back and get a draw. That
price is sitting at 7.5 as we're here on Tuesday. So I think he's probably bottomed out. Maybe there's one more week to hold there against Sunderland, but someone you should be discussing at least. Jurriën Timber, disappointing result for Arsenal was the next. And the fact that actually that poor performance has come in before we're talking about him has meant that his price has dropped around to that 9.6. If you are still diverting funds, I think he could be a really good pickup in the heart of that Arsenal defence, along with Ricardo Calafiore, who came back in. I mentioned that I was looking at him last week. I thought he looked superb, despite the fact, they did cop the goal late, but again, a good performance.
Yeah, nice finish as well from Richarlison.
Yes.
It was a nice goal. Obviously, didn't mean much at that time, but I think if you can get Arsenal defence in, that's always a good thing to try and target to have in your team. Obviously, Gabriel, I don't know how long he's going to be out for, but Timber's probably the next best option to have in your team, along with Calafiore.
Sitting around that same price as well. I think Calafiore is about $1 million less. James Tarkowski, he's coming off a clean sheet against Newcastle. His price has just moved above the 8 mil mark. He's got a negative break even going into the game against Newcastle on the weekend. He's someone that I'm looking at, again, around that $8 million. I'm almost inclined to go there. Everton, looking at their draw, Newcastle at home, Bournemouth away, which is listed as a tricky one for them, Forest at home, Chelsea away. So they sort of go expected draw, win, probably a loss, then a win against Forest, and then, Chelsea could be anything at the moment after that game against Arsenal on the week, after the game that they're playing this weekend against Arsenal. He's a base stats monster, blocks everything, winning aerial clearances all the time. I think if you're looking for a safe, reliable pick, probably outside those two Arsenal guys, he's your man.
Yeah, Tarkowski's he's a great defender. I love watching him play. He's always last-ditch tackles and blocks, and that's what you want to see as a fan of Everton, and obviously someone in your team is someone just puts their body on the line all the time, and definitely someone that as a Supercoach player you could target to bring in, and you see this morning, even with 10 men for that long, they've held out with a big win at Old Trafford as well. So definitely someone to target.
Going down the list, Tyreek Mitchell, who last week at 8.5 was sitting there very, very pretty. His price has increased markedly, just over the 9 mil. He's got a 3 break even this week ahead of the game against Manchester United. If you're looking, I think he's the pod option. At the moment, he's selected, he's 1% owned around the competition. So he's your point of difference pick for me. Nico Williams, another one that's been mentioned. He's the value option, 5.6 heading into the weekend. That's obviously going up a little bit now with
2.2.
Yeah, 2. There you go. So he's gone very nicely. The Brighton game coming up this weekend, he's still got a -13 break even. So if you're looking to pick up a bit of cash in your back line, Reece James. Talk to me about Reece James, Matty, because you brought him in this week. How are you feeling?
Well, I didn't bring him in.
No, sorry, it was the Malagusto trade, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I was sitting on the couch and I got the notification about the Chelsea lineups just an hour before the game, and I saw that Malagusto wasn't actually in starting, so I thought backfire on that trade.
Yes.
Take him out and reassess. And I just did the one trade last week, actually. It was Gabriel to Van Dijk.
Yeah, right. So you've got a lot of... Oh, I'm keen to talk about our trades this week. Yeah.
Yeah.
How much you got sitting? Have you got the number there in front of you? How much you got sitting?
10.8.
Oh, just sitting in the bank, ready to be spent. Mate, it's time to make hay while the sun shines.
It is, the midfield's the target, to try and get that going a bit.
You played 2 midfielders this week, is that right?
Foden and Gomez.
Yeah, right.
Not for 3 points.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Josh King just had a sneaky little... have him rotting on the bench over the last couple of weeks.
6 points,
6 for Fulham.
Been waiting for him to score or something. I knew it was coming.
Still sitting there. Sitting there. Truffert, the sort of value option for Bournemouth. He's been part of that joint defence. We talked about him last week with Senesi. Daniel Munoz has just gone to another level. You any thought about bringing him in? Oh, you own him already, don't you?
Yeah.
Geez, so you don't even have to think. Don't even have to think about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to bring maybe 2 Palace.
Yes, at the same time.
So I'm happy for having Munoz, and I'm definitely not thinking about trading him in out anytime soon. Palace defense is pretty solid, and even with your trade with the goalkeeper, I think that was a good one to bring in.
It was fortunate timing, which Dean Henderson's just going to shoot up in value and get me all the way to David Raya, which is very happy timing. Virgil van Dijk. Where are we sitting here? So Harry had him listed last week in the article as basically a must-have. At the price, I couldn't have agreed more. I brought him in. He's down at 5 mil now, which is just remarkable. He doesn't have a defensive partner, but Liverpool's run, as we mentioned with Salah, is very, very favourable, which is just drawing you in. But when you've got a team that's won 6, lost 6, they're just tracking mid-table. West Ham, Sunderland, Leeds, Brighton. West Ham, Sunderland, Leeds, Brighton, and then Spurs, Wolves, Leeds. Like, it's so attractive. It's the girl on the other side of the bar you're too scared to go and talk to. But everyone's talking to Van Dijk, and I don't know if we're going to be rewarded, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's just listening to you speak and tell me how many losses they've had in the last few months.
And they won their first 5. That's the other thing you got to remember.
But it wasn't really convincing,
No, never.
But we sort of thought, okay, maybe there's slow starts, maybe they're going to come back with the players that they've signed. It takes a bit of time. I mean, it's almost Christmas and the time's coming, and the players haven't really stepped up yet. I mean, it's up to the coach, obviously, to get the team going, but so far it's not looking good. And obviously Van Dijk at 5 mil, anyone's going to take that as a pickup and think that Liverpool can turn it around soon. But we've been waiting for that to happen. We've been waiting for Salah to come to life, and that hasn't happened either. So, yeah, I'm not sure what's happening at that club. It's not good.
No, as we talked off the top. The last one that Harry mentioned in his article over the weekend was Chris Richards, who's the slightly more value Crystal Palace option outside Daniel Munoz. He's still got a break-even of 3 going into this week against Manchester United, but obviously a lot of that has cashed in to take him up to 9.5. So you're still needing a little bit to make a move for him over the course of next week. Right, let's get into most traded. Let's look at where the punters are going so early, very early. After the course of the weekend, the trades have only opened up about 6 hours ago as we sit here. Eberechi Eze, perhaps unsurprisingly, top of that list. And the most traded out is your man, Diego Gomez, after the -1 over the course of the weekend, which I don't think is a particular surprise to anyone. We've talked through Eze. The other one that's snuck into the top 10 so far this week, and might be just a cash builder for those looking at him, Harvey Barnes, who's been talked about in Scotland dispatches by all reports over the course of the week, but at club level, playing well for this Newcastle team who just seem to be trending the right direction. We want to be a little bit careful with our chat about them here, but at 6.9, I don't think there's any great risk there if you are looking to build some bank over the course of the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, he's projected to go up almost 3 mil. So, it's someone that you can definitely look at bringing in. They've got Everton next game, which could be anything.
And then Spurs before we meet again next week. So
and Burnley, obviously. So, I mean, Newcastle haven't been great this year, but this could be the turnaround, beating a team like Man City at home could be the way to hopefully come into some good form, and that could be some more money and more points projected for Harvey Barnes.
Here's your get out. Eze, Munoz, we've already mentioned. We've talked at length about Yankuba Minte. He's sitting at 10.7 this week. Morgan Rogers is the value forward option. 6.1 mil after that superb free kick against Leeds United. Like, how do you pull that off? And I tell you what, Villa are a sneaky one who have just crept under the radar. Everyone dropped off them after such a poor start. They've suddenly got some assets I think are worth looking at, and he's the foremost of them. It's been part of that England squad. And I think, as much as people will be bringing him in to gain cash, he might be my get out in terms of a Salah pick if things really drop off over the next couple of weeks, my insurance policy. But they've got Wolves this week, so there's a chance he explodes again. Brighton away, and then Arsenal come to visit before a softer run over the Christmas period with West Ham and Man United. Imagine mentioning Man United as part of a softer run, but that's where we are. Morgan Rogers, 6.9. Love him as a player. I can't think you disagree.
Yeah, I love him as a player as well. I think he brings a lot to the Villa team. A lot of flair in the front third, and he scored 2 goals on the weekend. The free kick was very nice, and someone that could definitely be that cheaper option for people trying to get out of the Salah or even João Pedro. Obviously scoring a 0 on the weekend. I'm sure he's going to be highly traded out as well. I think he's second on my list.
Yes,
for trade outs. So he's someone that you could bring in, but just don't know with Villa. Like you're just not sure. I mean, obviously playing against Wolves, I expect Morgan Rogers to get on the goal. Again.
Yep. Yeah. I tend to agree. And we've got a couple others in there as well. Sorry, just losing that page quickly. Enzo Fernandez. I'm actually going to do a deep dive into all those sort of midfield heights, sort of those 8 to 11 million mid-range midfielders who so many are looking to bring in now that we do have a bit more consistency about the guys that are performing week in, week out. Obviously got the goal on the weekend, so he's going to be popular before the price moves up as well. So make sure you check out the SC Playbook site over the course of the week. Bukayo Saka's just sneaking in right down the bottom of my list in the 9th spot. 8.9 mil break even that's going to basically fall through the floor. I think he's going to be 10.5, 11 mil before we even blink. Chelsea this week, and we've talked about the Arsenal fixtures, but he's another one. If you're looking around that sort of price, which a lot of people are at the moment, which João Pedro a bit out of form and all that sort of stuff happening, he could be another one to have a glance at over the course of the week. Right, Matty, you've got a lot of decisions to make in terms of your trades, but you're saying to me off air, you're not particularly keen on too many other than João Gomez.
Yeah, I mean, that can always change.
It's a long week, isn't it?
But now that I'm looking at my team a little bit, I think Gomez will definitely be on the chopping block. Maybe for the Eze move, I can make that. Obviously, he's pretty easy with the 10 mil in the bank. And then I need to get rid of Rodri. So maybe I might even bring in Harvey Barnes.
Okay, just build that cash up a little bit.
Yeah, I don't mind the fixtures, and hopefully he keeps scoring a few goals.
Well, he could even turn into a hold. That's how well things are going at Newcastle at the moment. Bruno Guimaraes has been a great pickup for me, and he's delivered with a 10 again over the course of this week. Just quickly looking ahead, because it may be 2 game weeks past before we meet again. Is there anyone you're looking to upgrade with all that cash? Because you're talking about guys that are sort of even keel at the moment. Is there anyone that you're looking at going, hey, I could really go and target that big fish?
Maybe James to Timber.
Right, okay.
Yeah, that's another one I'm thinking about, and
the rest of your team is really, really solid. Yeah, Iwobi was the other one that caught my eye as someone you might look to
maybe bring in
really be attacking with.
Maybe bring in another Arsenal midfielder.
I have to say your cash generation has been really solid. The fact you picked up Mateta so early, I know he didn't perform for you on the weekend, but that has put you in a good position. Yeah,
I'm not looking at taking him out anytime soon. Maybe a Declan Rice or a Minte or someone like that. Someone that could definitely stay in my team for the rest of the season.
I'm going to keep you honest on that and track on you coming into next week. So my trade plans this week, you've taught me out of Salah. I really was thinking about doing it this week. Jeremy Doku is still sitting there as well at 8.6. There are so many. And I think I'm actually encouraged by that somewhat, is that there's so many players there. They're not all going to fire. and perhaps, a couple of them drop in price or at least just sit around that same mark that I'll be able to cash in heading into Christmas. Van Heck is the one that's got to go for me this week. Brighton, 9.1. He copped a 4 on the weekend. Brighton's defence is just not looking quite as solid as it was. And that has me looking sideways to Bournemouth, to be honest. I'm thinking Senesi, now that he has bottomed out at that 7.5, I think we can add a little bit there. I think their run of fixtures is going to be really good. Although Arsenal, the fact that I'm already committed to Saliba there, I don't know if I'm worth doubling up. I'll put it out on the line here. I think I'm going to go to Senesi, make that move, and then we can go from there. And hopefully Joachim Andersen, who's scored a sneaky 14, has just been rotting on the bench for the last few weeks, has popped up around that 6.8 mark. What's Fulham's fixtures looking like? Let's just tot up on that before we end the podcast. Tottenham, Man City. Okay, maybe it is time to get rid of him quickly. So it might be a double trade for me, in fact. Anderson coming out, and that means we can afford to fit in a Calafiori as well. So there you go. Van Hecker to Senesi, Anderson to Calafiori, make those couple of changes in the back line, and we move on from there for next week. Dean Henderson looking likely to come out of that Palace side after their visit from Manchester United this weekend, and then David Raya can come in ahead of their home game against Brentford in midweek. 3 trades over the course of a double game week I don't think is too bad. Captaincy plays for this weekend, Matty. I think it's pretty straightforward where we're going for putting the C.
Yeah, very straightforward. I think for me, if you could triple captain, I would just choose
the old
week.
FPL. Yeah.
I mean, it's on Haaland, and Leeds at home. I think it's a no-brainer for me. Obviously, there's going to be some different types of captains with the VC on Haaland maybe, and if people want to test that out. But for me, I'm just going straight C on Haaland, and
we go from there.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I've got Szoboszlai in as that VC backup this week. Liverpool, he's scoring great even when they're not playing well, and they go to West Ham this weekend, which I'm particularly comfortable with. And then midweek next week, just looking ahead, City got Fulham. So Everton, another early game, unfortunately, against Bournemouth off the back of the fact that they've got the early kickoff, or the Saturday kickoff, I should say, over the weekend against Bournemouth. So there won't be a loop option there for me again. And the VC there, Liverpool versus Sunderland, hello. It may just be there, or Declan Rice, Arsenal taking on Brentford. I think I'll be keeping within the constraints of those 3. Although Newcastle at home against Tottenham, that could be a cheeky one for Bruno Guimaraes as well. Anything left field you're looking at midweek?
Where's Palace?
I've put this on you without notice, so I apologise for that, Jurman.
Palace against Burnley.
Palace against Burnley. There you go.
Very good. Could be Munoz or Mateta.
I tell you what, Munoz is just performing so consistently at the moment.
He's unreal to watch. He's up and down all day.
And he's fit and firing, and one of the first names on Oliver Glasner's team sheet at the moment. Thank you very much for joining us this week. We will keep you updated with our record schedule for next week, because we do have that midweek game week coming in. Wednesday morning kickoff, Bournemouth versus Everton and Fulham versus Manchester City. So you need to get your teams in Tuesday night after the weekend's fallout, hoping for you that whoever your pods are, or if you're going Captain Haaland, that he delivers for you. Me and Matty will be back next week at some point, getting around Champions League fixtures. Good luck on Thursday night. You've got
Taipo at home, and then another home game on Sunday against Perth Glory.
Beautiful. Campbelltown, the centre of the world. Looking forward to... Yeah, exactly right. Get out there, support the competition locally, support the Premier League, watching on Stan Sport over the weekend. But for us, for this week, that's goodbye. See you next time.